we're getting started in around 33 seconds time with our first map, which is going to be Hoverboard by Tona, the final appearance of this map with the fastest lap time, the lap record on OGL with a 1:15.610, courtesy of Link, the Team Exalty driver, currently sitting in P4 in the overall Grand League, in the overall Open Grand League standings, is looking pretty sharp on this map, as tested by the Team Exalty driver. So yeah, if any results are anything to go by, Link could be a really strong contender to get in the combined match to get through to the Trackmania Grand League. So yeah, it will be really interesting to see how Link fares. Anyways, end of warm-up. We're about to get underway. This step starts now, ladies and gentlemen, for Challenger. With a bit of a helicam action, everybody taking the booster before checkpoint number 1. Everybody getting the whole, getting through there. Whole shot for Link after the checkpoint 1, with Chalik emerging in front of the field, in front of his teammate Dark. 2 Honor World drivers leading the field. That sounds a bit familiar. Seems as though Default in P3 will be a 1-2-3. Oh, Mika being the first man to make a mistake at the U-turn. Link also being left behind quite a bit at the first few turns. So Mika down in last. Link in P15. Mimo Jr. in P14 at the tail end of the lead pack, currently led by Wuzil at the entry to the ice rink, although Binks and Super Caliph and Chalik are having another word of that, having a much better entry into the bobsleigh part. Binks taking the lead from Super Caliph in second place, with Chalik in P3, battling with Hugo de Sanva, Razi, and Dark, with Mona currently sitting in P7. Here is your Open Grand League standing leader, 2-time step winner, Mudda, currently sitting in the thick of the battle for the lead, currently sitting in the battle for P3 right now between himself, Razi, and Chalik, with Super Caliph and Binks just ahead of him up the road, who are holding first and second. Binks with a pretty sluggish exit out of there allows Super Caliph to move 3 into first place, barely missing the slow-mo block that would have been absolutely killing the momentum of the Super Caliph as we head into the identity. Razi taking the lead as we're heading into the identity. Here we go. Whoa! Razi with a sketchy exit manages to keep it together, and so drops down to P7 as Cap overtakes him. Panda managing to give up to 5th. Panda managing to come back to the challenger stage after making it on step 1. A few surprises. Wozil made it. Mika made it. We got Mimo Jr. making it, I think, for the 2nd time in a row. Binks taking the lead from Super Caliph, with Mudda and Dark battling for P3 at the moment. Naturally, Carl, having made a huge mistake, is dropping down to P8 behind Chalik. So yeah, you can see the strain for the lead at the moment. That has formed quite well behind Binks and Dark at the moment. Mudda up into P3, Cap and Razi battling for 4th position at the moment. The Lion Esport driver from Croatia currently holding up the KWK Esport driver from France, formerly the leader of the Grand League, of the Open Grand League standings after 2 steps. Mudda, meanwhile, up front tries to make a move on Dark, tries to pressure the OTW driver to make a mistake and move up through into P2. Meanwhile, Binks has got a lead of around 4/10 to Dark in P2 as we head into the identity for the 2nd time. Binks going a bit too far towards the left. Will that impact him negatively? He crosses the identity. Nicely go. Nicely done through here. Dark in P2. Oh, Razi down to P7. Cap in P4. Chalik in P5, but Panda having made a mistake as well, allowing Razi to move temporarily up to 7th. What was that? Mudda made this huge stop pick at the freaking U-turn with the poles, so he's down in P11. Skandir as well, having made a mistake. They are forced to go for the Safeway. Skandir full stop picking in the Safeway even. What happened to the Belgian? First appearance, I think, for Skandir in the top flights. And he's down in P15 due to that stupid mistake. Meanwhile, let's actually check in on our wheel player with the Sidewinder wheel. He is currently sitting in P6, Grenady from Wavy Esport. Fair bit behind Chalik. He's 8/10 behind Chalik at the moment after the exit of the grass wall ride. Chalik in P5 battling with Cap and Panda for 3rd position as well. It's a pretty tight battle for top 3 at the moment, and actually a battle for top 2 as Dark has made a mistake. Ooh, what happens to Binks? Binks is already really nice stuff thrown through there. Mutta and Carl are having a battle tussle with each other after both made pretty big mistakes in the previous laps. Panda and Dark following Binks as we head onto the identity. Cap just behind him. Would there be any mistake in the top three? Cap with the really nice glide effect, but he doesn't get the ice corner just behind him just right, so he gets overtaken by Chalik immediately, and Panda also seeks to actually take up on the offer and move through into P4. Razi playing with the loud skin. Yeah, he is indeed playing with the loud skin. Yeah, Razi currently in P8. Default making it all three Outer World drivers in the top 8 at the moment. Grenady in P6. Panda, Cap, Chalik, and Dark battling for P2 at the moment, with Binks in the lead, 1.3 seconds ahead of Dark. So yeah, Binks from Team Exalty looking to build a gap quite fast indeed, as we are halfway through lap 4 of this race. 1.4 seconds in front of Dark is now Binks in first place, then Chalik and Panda in third and fourth, just behind Dark, half a second down on Dark, then Cap down to P5 after he got overtaken by both Chalik and Panda. Grenady still looking to actually get himself some pretty solid points on the board. If he finishes in this position, that would yield him 8 points for that 6th place finish. If he manages to overtake Cap, he will move up to 9 points though. So yeah, any position can be extremely valuable, especially in the Open Grand League. Force crossing on the identity, flawless for Binks, flawless for Dark. Chalik having a bit of a sketchy landing, but still good. Cap making it through here. Chalik overtaking Dark for P2. Cap, Chalik, Grenady up to P5 as Panda had made a mistake at the identity. He's down to P9 and he full stop picks at the first checkpoint, and so Panda finds himself down in P11. Mutta has also made another mistake and he's down in P12, whilst Carl has moved up into P8. So yeah, what happened to Mutta? That is really strange from our current leader overall. Not feeling it on these maps, it seems like. Not feeling it on this opening stage of the step, it must be said. Meanwhile, Chalik and Dark have inherited the lead as Binks have made a mistake further in the lap that I didn't catch on camera. So Binks is down to P5 with Chalik and Dark making it a Outer World 1-2. Cap in third place, keeping tabs on that battle for the lead between the two teammates. Currently, Chalik holding the lead from Dark from less than a tenth in front of his teammate Cap in third place, around half a second down on Dark at the moment. Grenady up into P4, battling with Binks for P5. So yeah, Grenady potentially on course to score some really decent points right here. If he stays like that, that's his 9 points in the bag for the German driver from Team Wavy as we head into the identity for the penultimate time in this step. Oh, Cap again going really risky towards the signs. He takes advantage of an earlier glide to get much speed. It is a really risky strat that does seem to pay off for Cap as he remains in third place in front of Binks. Binks in P4 manages to fend off the attacks of Grenady in P5. Default, Razi, and Super Kaluf complete your top 8 at the moment. Mutta down to P14 again, making a huge mistake. Link has also made a huge mistake as well. So yeah, some of the key contenders in the overall leaderboard have made some big mistakes, and Grenady has made another big mistake as well. He's down to P8, as I said, was praising him to actually get this up and running and try to get himself some decent points on the board. He made a huge mistake. Down to P8 he goes. 9 points have turned into 6 in the space of a few seconds for the German. Meanwhile, Cap in P4 as Default has faltered down to the top 8 position. Skarl up into P6. Razi up into the top 5, albeit quite a bit down to Cap, who's actually keeping track and keeping up with Dark and Binks, battling for P2. Chalik checking out for half a second in front of Dark right here. As we're heading into the identity for the final time, Binks trying to make a move on Dark before the identity with much more speed at the slow-mo jump. Heading into the identity for the final time, then Chalik, Dark, Binks, and Cap, who will make the first mistake. Binks full stop picks at the ring. Dark in P2. Chalik wins in front of Dark and Cap. Razi in P4. Carl up to P5. Grenady up into P6 in the end. Binks up into Binks down to 7th. Default in 8th. Panda will finish in P9. Skandir will finish in P10. Mika finishing in P11, or is he? No, he forces himself to respawn. Link finishing in P11. Mutta in P12. Mika not finishing yet. Ugo in P13, Mika P14, Mimo Jr. in P15, and Wozil down in P16. Thankfully for Mutta, that it was only the first map and one of these two maps that will not incur points loss for the bottom 8 finishes. So yeah, in his solace, he can think of himself as pretty lucky. So 20 points for Chelik in first place, Dark 14 points in second place, and Cap third with 12 points as we head on to map 2, which is going to be Starglide by Link. This is the final map where the bottom 8 did not incur any points losses, and this is also the final appearance for Starglide, as both that map and the hoverboard got introduced on step 2 weeks ago. So yeah, final running for this map alongside hoverboard. Next up will be, after this map will be the stage 2, 50% point loss incurred, and then stage 3 will follow right afterwards. So, excuse me, so yeah, map 2, Starglide by Link. So, Link playing on one of his own maps on home turf, albeit he does not have the fastest lap. That is courtesy of Super Carlouf all the way back in step 2 with 1:15.640. That has not been beaten yet as of step number 4. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if the lap record will fall in this final running of the map, or if Super Carlouf will get to keep that lap record for forever and ever right now, as this is the last time for people to have a chance to beat it. 1:15.640 then for Super Carlouf. The identity that we're going to be coming up to right now is consisting of 3 U-turns on the reactor boost blocks. Preceded by a freewheel, make sure to get around 135 at crossing of the checkpoint. So here, put your car at a diagonal, then throw your car into a nice light to move through into the ring, and then use the angle that you get your car into the ring to actually perform the U-turn and land smoothly, and use a bit of a glide to get some speed to go through the rings and then through the CP. It is really easy to mess up and actually go a little bit too shallow and hit the ring, or go a bit too deep into the reactor boost and then hit the wall and go a bit too far off the map, or hit the girders, hit the wall and completely mess up your landing afterwards. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how this goes. So, warm-up is done. We're getting started with map 2, guys. So, everybody making pretty safe start. No big mistakes as of lap number 1, as of CP number 1. Oh, as I say that, Chelik makes a huge mistake as Hugo gets the whole shot after checkpoint 1. Dark and Cap in second and third. And yet, Chelik, after such a really strong start to his step, has made a huge mistake right off the bat on map 2 and finds himself in last place, 1.2 seconds down on the leader. Currently, Wozil and Mimo Jr. tailing off the lead pack. Binks and Hugo de Sanvay leading in first and second. Cap in third place, getting uncomfortably close to the wall before the jump, it must be said, and still remaining in that top 8 battle at the moment. Dark and Dofalt have overtaken Cap, though. Cap down to P11. He's still in the thick of the pack. Let's actually see towards further up. Mika in P6 at the moment, trying to make some room towards the front as we head into the freewheel. Nobody making too much, getting too much speed in there. Mika still staying in P8 as we head onto the identity for the first time. Hugo leads into the identity. Let's see if he manages to keep his lead throughout the identity. Hugo going really nicely here. Carl going a bit deep into the reactor boost ring here. Hugo still retaining the lead, but with a sluggish exit, not for long. That will allow Dofalt to move through into first place, and the Belgian driver from Team Autoroll moves through into the lead as Hugo gets down to second. Binks threatening him to take that second place, and he does so, making it stick. Hugo down to third as Cap is in P4, 119.856 for Dofalt in first place to get the benchmark for the fastest lap. Remember, 1:15.640, as we had a huge mistake from one of the players. It was Binks, who was fighting for the top positions, and he's down in P10 alongside his teammate Link at the moment, battling it out for P10. Panda up the road in P9, battles with Graniti for P8. Mata up in P7, so he's looking to actually bounce back from that poor start on map number 1. Chelik has well and truly fallen out of shape on this map, and he's last 8.7 seconds down on his teammate Dofal, currently leading the proceedings with Hugo and Razi in second and third. Carl moving up to 5th past Skandir, with Razi in third, Cap in fourth. Oh, actually such a really nice entry for Carl, moves him up to third, as Razi and Cap have made a slowed down on quite a fair bit and dropped out quite a bit of time compared to Super Carlouf, who moves through into third. Dofalt and Hugo just in front of the 2006 world champion as they cross the identity. Cap with a supreme landing at the exit of that moves through into third place past Carl. Dauphin still leading the race. 1:15.915, just 3/10 away from the lap record for Dauphin, who takes the fastest lap of the race. Fastest lap is worth 2 points. Remember, 2 extra points on the board that could make all the difference for the end of the step. So, Mota currently sitting in P4 after 2 laps, having recovered nicely from a pretty poor start on hoverboard, and Hugo with a slow speed will get demoted down to 4th place. Mota tried to overtake Cap for 2nd position. Carl re-emerging back in the fight as a result of that mistake from Hugo. Meanwhile, Dauphin has checked out up front. 7/10 between himself and Cap in 2nd place. In the battle for 2nd place, should I say, between Cap, Mota, Carl, and Hugo, who's currently at the tail end of that battle, currently sitting in P5. The battle is insanely close for that top 2. Look at this. Free wheel for the 3rd time. Dauphin looking really strong out here. Hugo also having a really nice entry through there and allows himself to try and keep tabs with Super Kaluf heading into the identity right now. Mota going in really late at the identity. Let's actually see if there is any huge exits out of there. Cap going really nicely through there. Hugo with a sluggish exit gets demoted down to P5, and Grenady is coming back into contention for a top 5 spot. Meanwhile, Dauphin takes the flag in the lead. Cap and Mota in 2nd and 3rd, as Carl is in P4. Hugo and Grenady battling for P5 at the moment. 1:15.985 the time on lap 3 for Dauphin. Not too far away from this fastest lap, but still quite a ways away from the lap record. Remember, there is 6/10 in it if he has to actually chase the lap record from Super Kaluf before it is too late. Heading into lap 4 now. Dauphin 8/10, 9/10 even to Mota, who emerges into P2, although he's currently in a pretty tense battle with Cap for set P2. Cap currently leading Mota in the leading Mota overall ahead of Mota in the standing with 12 points versus 4 in this step for Mota. But actually, we had a huge mistake from who was it? Dauphin has made a huge mistake, and the leader drops out of the top 10 even, and he's gonna fight for top 10 as Panda is up next in 9th and Wozil is just behind in 11th place. So Cap inherits the lead in front of Mota. Super Kaluf up in 3rd, Hugo and Grenady up into the top 5 contention, Skandir up to P6, Razi and Dorn completely the top 8 at the moment with, let's actually see Mota and Cap. Oh, Cap with a really slow landing through there, pretty sudden landing for the French driver from KWK Esports, allows Mota to move through into the lead of the race as we head into the penultimate lap. Mota thus taking the fastest lap with a 1:15.664, he's just 24 thousandths of a second away from the lap record from Carl, who's currently sitting in P3 at the moment. 8/10 down on the leader, 3/10 down on Cap at the moment. Then for the 4/10 down, we find Grenady, who's got quite a bit of a gap to Skandir, actually. He's got a 1.2 second buffer to Skandir in 5th position, who himself has a 7/10 buffer to who has more around the 2nd buffer, sorry, to Dauphin in P6. So yeah, the gaps have widened quite a fair bit. Another the type battles currently unfolding are that for P8 between P7 between Dark and Panda, and then Razi is quite a bit further down. Link and Binks currently running in formation, trying to get back into the top 10 bandwagon. Meanwhile, Mota seems as though he's got a pretty wide exit out there, dropped speed somewhere, and Cap moves into the lead with Super Kaluf to P2, so French 1-2, and Grenady potentially up into a P3 spot contention as well. Onto the identity they go. Grenady with a slower landing compared to Mota on this first jump. 2nd jump, whoa! Nobody full stop making, so that's good. Cap and Carl. Oh, Grenady messes up and glides over the girder, and Grenady's challenge is pretty much over as Cap, Carl, and Mota enter the final lap with Cap taking the lead in front of Super Kaluf and Mota in 3rd. Skandir promoted up to P4. 2 Belgian drivers in the top 5 with Dauphin currently sitting in 5th place. Dark, Panda, and Razi complete the top 8 at the present moment. Mota not too far away from the battle for the lead. Within a 10th, we find Carl and Super Kaluf in 1st and 2nd, and Mota with a supreme dirt section makes it potentially a 3-way fight for the lead. It's going to be really tense throughout this entire final lap. Then we got a pretty internal battle between the Belgians. Oh no, Mota touching the outside wall. Will be able to clear the jump? Yes, but clinching on the inside. That will allow Skandir to move through into P3 and potentially don't fall into P4 as well. So yeah, Mota had a really good going, but unfortunately that small mistake drops him down to P5. Thankfully, he should salvage some decent points out of that. Meanwhile, Carl and Cap, it's a battle for the lead that we didn't really exactly expect, but that we are currently watching right now. In the identity, first crossing done in favor of Cap, 2nd crossing done in favor of Cap as well. But Carl has a really nice exit from there as Cap was going a bit wide. Cap with a slower exit. Carl has the advantage, and so he will take the lead and take the map win on Starglide, the final appearance of the map. Super Carlo, 2006 World Champion, wins in front of Cap in second. Dofalt moving up into P3. Mudda in P4 in the end in front of Skandir. Panda 6th, Razi 7th. Link in 8th, Hugo 9th, Binks in 10th, Dark 11th, Mimo Jr. 12th, Grenady 13th, Wuzil finishing down in P14 in a few moments. P15 for Tjalik. And 16th and last position, oh actually Tjalik has messed up the landing, he's probably be aiming towards the finish. Yeah, 15th place for Tjalik and 16th and last place for Mika, grabbing a single point. So Carl winning the map and taking the point for fastest lap of the race to boot will put him on 31 points and will allow him to take the lead of the step ahead of Cap with 26 points, 22 points for Tjalik in third, Dofalt and Dark equal in fourth and fifth with 18 points. 3 Otherworld drivers in the top 5 as we head straight into stage 2 and map number 3 coming up, which is Cyclone by Firestorm. The fastest lap the previous step was credited to Tjalik with a 112.380 courtesy of the Team Otherworld drivers. So yeah, the funnel right here, the funnel identity is really going to be pretty important to check out, but an equally important part of the map is that very first ice part right here. So here you're going to try to go as high as possible and keep your car at an angle toward with your front wheels pointed towards the higher part of the map to actually keep your car up on the wall ride, and then dive down as low as late as possible to throw your car into an ice slide configuration and perform the ice slide. Now it is really important to actually keep the ice slide. If you lose it halfway through, you're going to be careening towards the outside wall and that will be game over. Also be careful on your exit out of that set ice part. If you touch the wall ever so slightly, it could really trigger the acceleration penalty and sap all of your momentum out. So yeah, here as you can see here, people touching the wall, and that could really lead to catastrophe as this exit conditions the rest of the map pretty much, as we're going to be re-enabling the names that I had disabled inadvertently in the previous 2 maps. Really sorry about that, guys. And then the identity of this map, the Cyclone right here. Jump into the Cyclone. Make sure to not land too high, not to duck down too fast, as you'll be sent back up on the way to the finish, as you'll be sent back up the funnel and potentially out of the map. So yeah, it will be interesting to follow how everyone fares on this identity. So, map 3 about to get underway. We're already heading towards the halfway mark of today's steps. So, 3 maps almost down, 3 to go. Bottom 8 will lose half the points. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen. Whole shot for Mika after the first checkpoint. Mika currently trying to lead in front of Razi and Mudda, with Hugo de Soma also in charge. Panda, Cap, and Link currently at the tail end of the leading pack at the moment. No big mistakes. Heading into the grass part, Binks and Skandir first and second. Hugo in third place. Panda and Link having a pretty slow and pretty big airtime actually. On the grass part, not the most ideal thing you want if you want some smooth transitions out there. Hugo and Skandir again at front, but then Binks, Wuzil, and Mudda in the top 5. Dark in P6, Grenady in P7. It seems as though nobody making big mistakes as we enter into the ice wall ride, following the perspective of Grenady right now. The wheel player from Team Wavy Esport going a bit too slow, going a bit too much on the inside, touching the wall, getting the worst of both worlds, losing the ice slide right in the middle, losing momentum, and then the slight tap of the wall at the exit. So yeah, pretty much down the drain for Grenady at the moment. Tjalik and Mudda 1 and 2. Skandir, Carl and Mika battling for third place. Dark just behind them. It's a really tight battle for the top positions as we head into identity for the first time. Tjalik currently leading Mudda as we're heading towards the perspective of the Australian. And the Australian gets the identity better than most and takes the lap with a 116.874 in the lead. Tjalik and Carl second and third. Dark in fourth. Binks in fifth. Skandir 6, Mika and Dofal completing the top 8 so far, and already the gap starting to develop between the top 8 and the bottom 8. Cap currently 3/10 down with alongside Razi and Link trying to catch back up to the top 8 bandwagon. Then Wozil in P12, Mimo Jr. P13. They're the last within a second of top 8. Then Hugo, who is having a strong start, is down in P14. Panda P15 and Grenady down in P16. 5 seconds down on the top 8 position needed for safety. So yeah, it seems as though Binks has made a huge mistake as well. So one of the leaders is down the drain in P15. Grenady could see him. I saw, that's pretty weird. Oh, it was one of the drivers. It was Chalik missing the losing the ice slide midway through the corner. He was forced to respawn as he saw he was careening outside of the map into the wall. Just into that gap that doesn't allow you to move back into contention. So yeah, Mudda inherits the lead in front of Super Carlouf, the 2006 World Champion, putting up a good fight against the Australian though, as he takes the lead before the identity. We'll see how Mudda can actually retaliate. He could potentially have a better line through here, going a bit high to garner more speed than the 2006 World Champion, but no, Super Carlouf actually takes the lead and the lap record as well with a 112.282 to be credited to Super Carlouf. Mudda in P2 within the same 100th. That's absolutely insane what we're seeing right now at the final check, the previous checkpoint. Dark in P3 got left behind quite a bit by the top two group at the moment. 1.2 seconds down on the leader currently. Dark in P3, Mika in P4, Dofal P5, Razi and Hugo battling for P6 at the moment, as we had plenty of huge contenders making mistakes. We had Grenady making mistakes early on, Chalik making mistakes, Binks making mistakes, Panda making mistakes as well, as he was in the top 8. We also had Mimo Jr. and Cap making mistakes as well. So yeah, the top 8 has evolved really fast right here. Mudda has actually lost the lead to Super Carlouf in P2, and the gap has widened quite a bit at the exit of the ice part, with half a second to about the second now as we head into the third crossing of the identity for Super Carlouf, to Mudda in second position, then Dark in third, Mika and Dofal battling for P4. Currently the Belgian having the advantage and coming closer to his teammate. Mika with a bunch of airtime heading to the identity, diving down really early. Carl still leading after lap number 3 got wrapped up and in the books. Meanwhile, Hugo in the top 8 currently sees the battle between Wozil and Razi for P6. Wozil currently not having had the best start to his very first step in the challenger bracket. He only has 4 points scored over the course of the first 2 maps, which were the most important opportunity to get a bankroll of points to actually get himself a decent score heading into the second stages. Razi currently in P7, 17 points. Meanwhile, let's actually see some of the big point scores. Chalik down on 16th place with 22 points, 26 points for capping P11, but he might be in with a shout of potentially getting back into the top 8 contention as Hugo. You can see Hugo, and he's touched the respawn. He managed to respawn, but he completely messed it up, and he's so forced to double respawn, and so Hugo is down in the latter part. Cap up into P10, but most importantly, Razi up into P8, Link up into the top 8 with P7, and Mudda has made a huge mistake that I didn't catch on camera. He's down to P6, so he could be at jeopardy of losing half of his 16 points that he's accumulated. Dofal up into P2, Dark into P3 as we head into the identity for lap number 4. Karm going a bit high into the identity, I thought, from the name tag. Dofal then Dark second and third, Mika fourth, Wozil up to 5th, Mudda in 6th, Link and Razi in 7th and 8th. Razi catching back up to Link for that 7th position. Skandir is only half a second down in P9, so yeah, Skandir could be in to actually get a top 8 finish on one of the points lost maps, which will be a first for him in this season of the Grand League in the Challenger bracket at the very least. Then Cap has got dropped a bunch more time to Skandir, so unfortunately he finds himself 2.1 seconds down on Skandir in P9. Skandir currently the closest to have any chance of getting back into the top 8 as we are into the penultimate lap. Dofal and Dark second and third. Let's actually see the perspective from Dark. Tightening the drift, but he loses it midway through, and he's gonna be losing a ton of places. Mika inheriting 3rd place, Wozil in P4, Mudda P5, and Dark is out of the top 8, promoting Cap into P9, and Skandir up into the top 8. So yeah, this could be a top 8 finish on the cards for Skandir after all. 1.5 seconds of a gap between Super Carlouf and Dofal at the front. Meanwhile, Super Carlouf controlling this race convincingly. Mika up to 3rd. It's following the mistake of Dark. Then Mudda up into P4 battling with Wozil. Wozil demoting the Australian down to P5 again as Link, Razi, and Skandir completed top 8. Cap trying as much as he can, as hard as he might, to catch back up to Skandir, but unless a mistake happens from either Skandir or another top 8 player, it might be minus 13 points in the end for Cap at the end of this 3rd map of the step. Meanwhile, Carl continuing to widen the gap to Default. 1.8 seconds at the last checkpoint between the two drivers. Then Mika in P36 stands down on Default. Then Wozil a little bit further behind, catching back up to Mika, as a matter of fact, into the ice part. So let's actually see how this goes from the perspective of the game war player. Default losing the speed and losing the drift throughout the ice rink. So yeah, Default down to the top 8. Cap promoted into the top 8 with a pretty sluggish exit as well, although he's got quite a bit of buffer to Dark. Carl remaining in the lead. Mika and Wozil in second and third. Razi fourth. Actually, Mudda dropping a lot of places to Link and Razi, so he's still down in P6. But meanwhile, Carl has got a lead of 1.26 seconds to Mika as he heads into the identity. Let's hope he does not pull a Massa and full stop picks at the finish. Let's actually see. And it's going to be a win for Super Kaluf in this race. Second place for Mika, Wozil up in third, Razi fourth, Link fifth, Mudda sixth, Skandir 7th, Dark into the top 8, and last he actually overtook Cap, who made a mistake, and he will lose 13 points. Cap 9th, Binks 10th, Nemo Jr. 11th, Default 12th, Panda 13th, Bernini 14th, Hugo 15th, and Chalik down in P16. Fastest lap of the race for Hugo. In his stall list, he will actually take the points for fastest lap with a 1:12.227 and a new lap record, going for the first lap record actually for Hugo de Saint-Van. So Carl conforting his advantage to 49 points in this step, ahead of Razi with 27, Mudda up to third with 24 points, equal with Dark in fourth place, and Skandir in the top 5 with 21 points as we head on to map number 4, which is going to be Paradise by Table. So Paradise by Table, formerly map number 5 of step number 3, the fastest lap in the OGL, courtesy of Legu from Team 1X with 124.424. Unfortunately for Legu, he won't have any chance to actually claim that fastest lap against these. He will not be in the challenger part, at least in the challenger fastest lap bracket. He will not be able to actually claim that back. So yeah, the uphill ice U-turn that we discussed before. So this map does not really need any presenting now. So let's actually take a look at the live ranking that you see at the sidebar right here. So Carl currently leading by 22 points in front of Razi. So if case of a no score by Super Kaluf, which is of course something that nobody should wish to anybody, Razi could very well take the lead and could very well try to equalize Super Kaluf, but Super Kaluf will be actually losing points. So yeah, that could be really a huge shift in the physiognomy of the step. So Carl currently leading in front of Razi and Mudda and Dark, and then Skandir just behind him. Within 7 points we find second, third, fourth, and fifth. So yeah, it could still be extremely tight. Then within 10 points we find 7 different players. So yeah, it is extremely tight for those top 8 positions in the overall standings. And unfortunately, Bernini, who had such a strong start in the opening few maps, unfortunately it's all unraveled for the esport wavy player, who doesn't seem to have any sort of it doesn't seem to click so far this season for the wheel player. Unfortunately, well, here's to hoping that he manages to get his aspirations back on track, potentially with the final few steps to prove that he potentially has the pace to go to the combine or with the next season. Anyways, here we go with map number 4 of step number 4. With a bit of helicam action, a bit of westcam action as I like to call it, for the first checkpoint onward, and the whole shot is going to be Defaults with a 10.954 in front of Cap, Razi, and Panda heading into the dirt. Oh, a bit of a touch by Mudda. He's down in last place, getting trailed by the leading pack, currently tailed off by Wozil and Skandir as we're heading towards the jump. Let's see how, if anyone makes a mistake at the jump. Dark touching too much, going too much on the outside. Skandir as well having a less than ideal landing. Skandir taking to the safe way, and so down in P15 and 16 the 2 go. Meanwhile, up front it's Binks, Carl, and Chalik 1, 2, 3 with Default and Nemo Jr. also in the top 5, as well as Mika. So yeah, it's going to be extremely close for this very first lap until we get to the identity, with the very first big mistakes potentially set to happen there. Mudda currently at the tail end of the leading field at the moment as we're heading towards the identity for the first time in this step. Cap down to P18 after a bit of a mistake into the turnover part, it seems like. Oh, Panda going really wide at the exit of the first free wheel section. Then the Identity with this first free wheel U-turn. Grenady also having made a mistake touching a wall and thus dropping a lot of speed. Chalik and Rossi going for the spin. Super Calif going for the safer strat and dacking low as soon as possible. Mimo having a slow exit. Hugo having a slow exit. Wuzil as well. So Cap looking to make places. Mudda has made places as well. And he fends off the challenge of Wuzil and remains in the top 8 right now. Rossi currently leading the race with the 128.042, although he has got some pretty quick drivers behind him with Link, Mika, and Chalik currently battling for second, looking to actually catch back up to Rossi. Then Binks in P5, Panda in P6 with Dofalt and Super Calif completing the top 8, and Mudda behind. Ooh, Panda with a huge mistake, forced to take to the safe way just before the jump. Thankfully, he did not have to respawn. He won't be able to clear the second jump. Not quite, no. He's forced to take the safe way, and so Panda will be out of the running for the top 8 positions, unfortunately for him, as we had a mistake from Grenady again. He finds himself down in P13, Cap in 11th, Mika down to P9 after such a strong start. Mika finds himself in the danger zone in this half-point slots map. Meanwhile, Rossi and Chalik still first and second. Carl in P5 as Binks managed to move through into third place, and Link in P4, Chalik in P2. Mudda up into P6 past Dofalt, but Dofalt still keeping the fight alive with Toon himself and Mudda. Ooh, nobody touching, but still quite a bit of a release on behalf of Link and Super Calif, allowing Dofalt and Mudda to blast past them. Dofalt up into P4 with Mudda up into P5. Rossi going for the spin, Charlie going for the spin, and Binks going for the safer strat. Mudda going for the spin. Oh, Binks falling outside of the map, and that's game over. Carl has made a mistake of the Identity as well, so they're out of the running. Rossi and no, Rossi full stop picking at the freaking at the exit of this ice rink. So Rossi down to P6. Actually, even more than that, he's down in P11. Chalik inheriting the lead in front of his teammate Dofalt, but Dofalt is extremely fast, as attested by the fastest lap with a 124.650, just a few tenths away from the fastest lap record. Mudda up into P3 with all these shenanigans happening up front. Link in P4, Hugo, Mika, Wuzil, and Grenady up into P8. Currently, we're watching the battle for P6 between Mika and Wuzil at the very moment. Then Cap just 2 tenths down on top 8, so there could still be some juicy points on there. And it seems as though the nightmare scenario for Super Calif is currently unfolding. Down in the P15, not much to celebrate for the 2006 World Champion at the moment, as Binks has made a mistake. He moves into P13, but that could still very well be a little consolation if he does not manage to get back into contention and back into shape for the lead pack, or if there is not any mistake coming from the rest of the players. Since Rossi's made a huge mistake. Yeah, Rossi's down in P12, Skander P10, Mimo Jr. P9, Cap into the top 8, battling it out with Wuzil, Mika, and Link potentially for top 5 at the moment. Hugo into P4, Mudda, Chalik, and Dofalt 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Hugo going for the safe strat, nobody falling outside in the top 4. In the top 8, in fact, it's actually pretty clean. Let's actually see how this goes from the perspective of Link in the top 5. And Chalik remaining in the lead in front of his teammate Dofalt and pulling the gap to 7 tenths. So yeah, Chalik trying to recoup some of the points that have been lost on map number 3. Panda, the fastest man on track on lap number 3 with a 124.887. Meanwhile, Mudda currently trying to reel in Hugo de Soma for the benefit of P3 as they head onto the jump together. Currently in the favor of Hugo, a bit of a two-wheel action from Mudda, who still manages to keep speed from there. Cap overtaking Mika for P6, actually Wuzil down to P8, as we had a mistake, it seems as the mistakes from other people have occurred. So yeah, Skander in P9 is 1.7 seconds down on the top 8 needed for safety, and Carl is 5 seconds down on the top 8 needed for safety alongside Grenady. So yeah, there's still going to be some pretty big points losses, potentially 25 points at stake here for Super Calif. Remember, it's 50% points loss for the bottom 8, not full points loss so far. Meanwhile, Chalik, Dofalt, Hugo battling really hard for the lead right now, with Mudda currently overseeing the proceedings and getting a little bit of a gander at that battle, trying to pick up any mistake as Chalik and Dofalt go for the spin. Hugo goes for the safe route. Mudda goes for the spin. Nobody falling outside, but it's going really wide for the Outer World players as Hugo manages to keep it safe and reels it in, keeping it clean. Although Chalik manages to get more speed out of there. Oh, sluggish exit from Mudda. He manages to keep it on the road, but he surrenders P4 to Link as a result of that mistake. Penultimate lap on their way as Rossi takes the fastest lap of the race, and he gets back into contention for the lead for the top steps, as Mika has faltered quite a bit, and he's down in P10. So yeah, the battle for top 8 is closer than ever. as we had a mistake from Mimo Jr. He's down in P16, unfortunately, after making a mistake at the identity, it seems like. So yeah, currently Celik and Hugo leading in first and second, Link in third, Moda up into P4 as Dofal made a mistake, he's down to P5, Wozil, Cap, and Skandir in the top 8. Skandir quite a way down on Cap, so he's not going to be any threat, but he's going to be well and truly under threat from Razi, currently 9th with 27 points. He wants to keep those points so badly. He wants to keep them as much as he can. He doesn't want to lose the 14 points that would be incurred. That would be lost with the 9th place finish. So he's going to try to get back Skandir as soon as he can. Here he goes, trying to make a move at the freewheel. No mistake from Skandir, although the speed is less compared to Razi, so Razi will be neck and neck heading into the identity. Meanwhile, at the front, Wozil's done the mistake, and Mamada has made a mistake as well, so Cap currently sitting in P5. Let's actually see how Mada goes. Oh, Mada actually up into P4 as Dofalt and Cap have made mistakes in the identity not optimal lines, and so they will be down in the bottom part of the top 8. Meanwhile, Celik into the final lap, 1 second ahead of Hugo. Celik with a 124.229, taking the lap record. As a result of that, Link in P3, Dofalt and Mada battling for P4 at the very moment. Currently, the Australian having a really nice exit through there, but Dofalt manages to keep it there. So Dofalt, the Belgian, has the advantage over the Australian at the moment. Cap 6 with Rosel and Razi up into P8. He's made the move stick on Skylier, who seemed to have made a mistake to drop too much momentum, and so the Belgian down in P9 could very well lose 10 points or 11 points in this case. I think it's rounded towards the higher number if to avoid decimals. But anyways, Hugo, actually Celik made a mistake. He's down to P3, and so Hugo takes the lead and potentially get a map win on the board in this step, which will be unprecedented for the Team MTP driver at the moment. Link up into second place, Celik and Dofalt third and fourth for Team Outer World, and then Mada in P5 actually battling with Dofalt for set fourth position as we're heading into the identity for the final time with this first free wheel section. Dofalt almost touching the wall by managing to keep out of it and keep momentum. Then the free wheel U-turn up first to denote the start of the identity. Hugo's safe strat seems to work, 1.7 seconds ahead of Link. The spin for Dofalt, Celik, and Mada. Nobody falling on the outside of the map. Hugo seems as though he's got this in the bag, and Hugo will win the map. And Link finishing in P2, Celik, Dofalt, and Mada 3rd, 4th, and 5th in that order. Cap in P6, Wozil 7th, and Razi will finish in the top 8, just ahead of Panda in P9. Skandir in P10, overtaking at the line by Panda. Binks in 11th, Dark in 12th, Grenady P13, Carl P14, Mika 15, actually getting forced to respawn. Mimo Jr. just behind him, so there could still be a battle between the two, even though it's for P15 in the end. But Mika seems as though he's got this in the back. Just one more to go. Mimo going for a low line and spinning out of control, and Mika will get P15. Mimo Jr. will cross the line in last place. And so, unfortunately for Carl, 25 points lost will mean that he will be dropped out of the leading position that he had. And so that will allow Mada to move through into an equal lead position. 3 leaders, Link, Mada, and Razi in 1, 2, 3 with 33 points. 29 points for Hugo in 4th, and 28 for Carl in P5. As we're going to be heading... As we're going to be heading into a break. Yes, we've passed 2 stages. We got 1 more stage to go. The final 2 maps. But before that, we get a little bit of a 6-minute break to allow the drivers to get a little bit of rest and actually psych themselves up for the upcoming 2 maps, which are Bumpy Jumpy by Tona, which you currently see here, and then Circles to mark the final map. So, quick score recap after 4 maps. 3 drivers on the same spot for the lead. 33 points equal for Mada, Razi, and Link. 1, 2, and 3. 29 points for Hugo in P4. 28 for Super Calif in P5. 26 equal for Celik and Cap in 6th and 7th. And Dofalt 8th with 23 points. Wozil 9th with 23 points as well. Dark and Skandir equal on 16 points on 10th and 11th. 12th place for Mika with 11 points. 10 points for Panda and Binks in 13th and 14th. 8 points for Grenady in P15 and P16 for Mimo Jr. with 5 points. So, the identity of Bumpy Jumpy is this series of jumps. One towards the right, another one towards the left, and then towards the right here for this final jump. And then another final jump that you get to see is the one through the trees at the final corner, but that the community likes to refer to as another yep tree jump. So make sure to actually thread the needle through here, as you see Mika and Grenady do, to land on the other side. We saw some people in the Grand League actually completely mess up at the at this particular jump, including and not limited to Matt. I know I know that his name gets cited a lot when it comes to mistakes, but hey, you can't especially help it, right? Love you, Matt. If you're watching this, love you. Anyways, map 5 underway. Here we go with the first ice wall ride going high. We see Chalik and Link. Chalik going for as much speed as he can, but that does not pay out after the whole shot, which is going to be Hugo's in front of Chalik, with Mudda also emerging into the lead fight. Dark and Hugo 1 and 2, Panda in P3, Chalik in P4, Grenady and Razi, Cap and Super Calf completing the top 8 at the moment. Let's actually check in on Super Calf heading into the Reactor Boost wall ride at the very moment. Oh, Super Calf missing the drift, and someone's full stop picking at the pole, full stop picking at the CP right now. Mudda with a sluggish exit manages to get through unscathed though, so that's a bonus from that, even though now finishing in the top 8 becomes all the more important. Bottom 8 will lose all the points, and so far 2 out of the 33 points are currently sitting in the bottom 8, that being Super Caluf and Mudda. Mudda currently 1.24 seconds down on the top 8 needed for safety, and Super Caluf a little bit further up the road, around a second away from the top 8 needed for safety as they go through the identity right now. No big mistakes so far, no big yep tree inbound. Ooh, sluggish exit from sluggish landing from Razi though. That's going to cost a big time for the Croatian driver at the moment. Link on the verge of getting kicked out of the top 8. That's looking super close. Link in a really tight battle. Skandir looking to actually get himself into the top 8 and try to make some damage among some of the league contenders. Currently, Panda is up the road, currently holding that P8 together. Mika and Chalik having made huge mistakes, are down 15 and 16. Razi having made a huge mistake as well, is down in 14th place. Currently, Mudda is the last one potentially in with a shout of making it into the top 8 after lap number 2. He goes for the small dirt jump, manages to get a good, decent landing through there, but not enough speed to actually get back up to Skandir, Carl, and Nemo Jr. currently battling for P10 at the moment, actually P9. So yeah, completely missing up the positions here. Carl up to P9, past Skandir, Cap down to P8. He's half a second up on Carl, but he's nowhere near safe. It's still looking to be everything to play for after 2 laps as we're handling with the identity. Panda, ooh, Carl with a bit of a clip at the landing there. Thankfully, he did not lose speed from that. Ooh, almost grazing the pole, so he will be lifting there. Oh, Panda with a huge stop pick. Huge miss, huge fail at the identity. Oh. Cap having a slow landing. He's out of the top 8. Carl up into the top 8 with Mudda up into P7. So we already see Link and Mudda, the 33 points, who are finding themselves back into the top 8. Razi is the only one out of the top 8 on 33 points with 4.7 seconds, 4.9 seconds down on the leader in P14, on the top 8 in P14. Chalik and Binks just ahead of the road of the Croatian. Carl may be in P8, but again, not everything is certain. He's not safe from Cap behind him, so it's going to be really interesting to watch that battle unfold up front. Oh, Cap touches, and it's going to be the respawn. It's going to be game over for Cap in this particular battle. At least Mimo Jr.'s past him, so he's down in P11. Skandir and Mimo Jr., actually Hugo de Sanva up into P8 as a result of that mistake from Cap, and Skandir up into P9, still trying to chase that elusive top 8. You can see some of the most of the bigger point scorers aren't back into the top 8, except for Razi, Cap, and Chalik, who could be losing all 26 points. Oh, what happened with... What was that? It's Dark! He's full stop picked into the identity, so he's down in P9 and allows Skandir up into P8. Carl with a pretty sluggish exit out of there. Sluggish landing at the Yep tree jump. Gets down in P8. Mimo Jr. into P9. 2.5 seconds down on Carl with Cap just behind him. Grenady currently holding the lap record though, so Grenady actually we completely went out of focus, but yeah, Grenady currently battling for the lead with Link, who takes the lead from the German driver from Team Wavy, but Grenady taking the fastest lap of the race with 1:13.277. Currently, this is the current lap record. Are we going to see anyone trying to trap on that mark? We're going to have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Carl is quite a bit safe from Cap. He's 2.2 seconds up on Cap in P9. So yeah, he's going to have to try and bring this one home as much as he can to keep those 28 points on the board. Meanwhile, Link and Grenady, the battle rages on for the lead of the race. This could potentially deny Link a chance to actually get up into the lead of the race. Although, with everybody on, with both him and Mata on the equal score, the positioning will yield Link the lead regardless, as he takes the lead of the race from Grenady. But Grenady comes back at the jump at the finish. Link keeping it at the whole shot for less than a hundredth of a second. Grenady still in P2, but still in the battle for the lead. 1.31 seconds behind them, we find Dofalt in P3, Cap, Mata in P4. Cap back up into the top 8 as Remimo Jr. made a huge mistake. Binks and Wozil in P9 and P10. Cap back up into the top 8, so Skandir in P7, Carl in P6. Hugo in P5, just ahead, below Mata in P4. Dofalt in P3, quite a way down on the two leaders who are just not giving themselves an inch. Grenady and Link, still a really close battle at the front. Dark times for Dark. Yeah, you're right, Witty. Sorry for that little bit of a late call out. But yeah, towards the end of the penultimate lap, it's still everything to play for the lead right now. Currently, it is Grenady, the wheel play for Team Wavy, currently upstaging Link, the 4-time Tech World Champion with Team France from Team Exulti, in second position as we head to the identity for the penultimate time. First jump, we saw that Link had quite a bit of an advantage over Grenady on this particular section, but not enough to actually overtake the German. It's going to be over to the final jump. Onto the final lap. It's again within the same hundredth, but Grenady this time has the upper hand. Cap, meanwhile, is potentially getting himself into the 112s with 113.095, the fastest lap of the race, and he takes the lap record away from Grenady temporarily. Meanwhile, the battle goes all the way to the final lap between these two. Link having taken the lead from Grenady in second position. Dofalt 2 seconds down, can't really have any answer to the pace of the lead group, and so he will be content potentially getting this one home into P3. Mata into P4. Look at this. It's really, again, super tight. Did Link make a mistake? No, I actually managed to clear it through, so the battle still rages on. It's still anybody's game. Free will coming up. Who keeps the most speed? It seems as though Link has more speed at the exit, but the line, it's super close. Link touching a bit of the girder, but doesn't get any penalty out of it. So, identity is going to be super key in the final jump as well. Grenady having a lead of around a tenth and a half to Link on the first jump. Link having a sketchy landing. Second jump. Grenady with a sketchy landing. Third jump. Everybody managing to get through. Now the final jump. Will anybody get treed? Grenady manages to get it through, and he wins the map ahead of Link in second place. Dofalt in P3. Mata in P4. Hugo P5. Carl P7 as Cap snipes him for P6. Binks in P8, Razi loses 33 points, Skandir loses 16 points, Mimo Jr. loses 5 points, Dark loses 16 points, Wozil loses 23 points, Panda loses 10 points, Xiaolek loses 26 points, and Mika is going to lose all 11 points that he's accumulated and scored a solid 3 points for 16th position. Hello Witty and hello Phoebe, by the way. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you're having a good day, by the way, Phoebe. So, as a result of that, Link takes the lead of the proceedings with 47 points in first place, 43 for Mata in second, 38 for Hugo in third place, and fourth and fifth, Dofalt and Super Carlouf with 35 points. Happy to see me back? Oh, that's thank you very much. Thank you very much, Phoebe. So, final map of the step, map 6. Circles by Link, a pretty interesting map in and of itself, as I showed in the earlier part of the stream before the seeding, where I actually played a lap of those maps thanks to the TMGL 1 lap hunt. Starting off with this ice section, where you're gonna have to be really careful with the grip level to not go too high up on the ice wall ride, up on the wall ride, then straighten your lane on the grass to actually keep ground contact. CP3 around both poles, go for a tight line on the left-hander. Then use the hump to set your car up for the next right-hander right here. Before this ice part, again, make sure not to go too high, to drop too much speed before the downwards curve. Then this particular section, which is a turnover with reactor boost. Keep your car at a diagonal angle to actually make the smoothest transition possible. And then this wall ride with this small ice patch. Then long drifting turns before this free wheel section. Dive down to the inside of this grass section, then straighten your car out and keep a smooth transition through there. Small tech part, and then the transfer jumps coming up. So jump onto there, and then release and turn at the right moment to keep as low time as possible for the first transfer, then second transfer. Just on top of the sides, then land nicely into the final part of the ramp, and then final corner, freewheel through the air to cross the start-finish line to start another lap. Okay, so it seems as though the jinxing game has started in the chat, with Mayhem saying that it would be a shame if Link moves to the bottom 8 from first place on his own map. Anyways, we're getting started with last map, and to commemorate that, another shot of the Helicam, this time from the chase position, shall we? So, whole shot for Hugo after checkpoint 1, but Chalik, Mika, and Scotty are having made huge mistakes already along with Mimo Jr., so they're going to be down quite a bit compared to the rest of the lead pack. Binks, Mutta, and Dark, 1, 2, 3 after the grass part. Heading into CP3, Binks still retaining the lead from Otherworld's Dark, currently 1/10.5 ahead of the Team Otherworld driver in second position. Mutta in P3, battling it out fiercely with Rozzy for said P3. Cap in the thick of it with Carl, Dofalt, and Link in the top 8 currently. Dofalt trying to hold on this 35 points as much as he can. Currently Link down in P6. He's still in the top 8, so yeah, looking to have a solid start right now. Binks currently checking out for the top 2. Fight between Mutta and Dark in first, in second and third right now. Carl up at the P4. Still some valuable points on the board potentially for Super Kalouf, who's currently trying to keep his place in the top 8 as safe as possible. Potentially some good points for Grenady as well, so it will be good to see how this will go as we're headed to the Identity for the first time. Binks having a really nice crossing through here. Let's actually see if anyone misses the jump. Doesn't seem that there's any big mistake incurred from any of the players. Grenady still remaining in fierce contention for the top 8, currently battling with Link for P7. Lap number 1, a few other laps to just 5 laps to go for some of these players before the final release. For some of these players as they are going to go for the big points in the step. Oh, Cap and Super Kalouf, it might be really hairy here. They're heading towards the bottom 8 zone. No big mistakes so far aside from Skandir, who's down in 16th place, and Mika down in 15th place. Memo and Chalik, the mistakes from the beginning have kind of stung a little bit, but they're still potentially in with a shout of top 8 if there is mistakes happening on the leading pack. Meanwhile, Binks currently pulling away quite a decent rate. He's now 9/10 of a second in front of Mutta in second position. Then the battle between Mutta and Dark still rages on for P2. Currently Dark having the advantage into the CP, but Mutta keeping close tabs and keeping the Underworld driver in check at the moment with Rozzy up into P4 as we head to the Identity for the second time. Nice slow transfer from Hugo, actually, who takes to the 4th position of Rozzy. Rozzy will not be able to make it. Oh, he will be able to make it, but that was really close from the Croatian driver. He will get passed by Link for that P7 No, actually Rozzy's still up in P3, so yeah, it seems as though Rozzy managed to get that through nicely here. Dark down to P5, so currently Mutta holds P2, 1 second down on Binks in first position. Currently Binks looking solid out here with a 1:14.686, the current fastest lap for the Team Exalti driver. 4th place in the French Championship earlier this year, and it seems as though he's looking pretty sharp out here, even though he's not maybe in a potential combined position for the moment after 3 steps. This might be the one that comes really good for Binks and get some decent points on the board. Although it might not be a step win, it will still be a decent step for him to actually finish in the lead and in the lead of a race and actually win the race outright. Mutta still keeping the gap to around 1 second of Binks, trying to reel the Frenchman in as we head into the Identity for the 3rd time in this step. Nice slow transfer from Binks, nice slow transfer from Mutta. Dark as well, currently fighting off with Hugo, who takes P3 from Dark. Mutta still looking pretty solid out here as we're heading into the 4th lap. We're halfway through the final race. Binks still holding strong in first place, and Link has made actually Dark has made a mistake, so he's down in P5. Grenady up into P4, so yeah, Grenady again, as I stated it before, in with a shout of getting some solid points on the board for the very first time to get a good step going after showing so much promise in the first 3 steps, but going so close but no cigar with last map shenanigans, unfortunately for Grenady, with the last map Identity shenanigans sometimes for some of these players happening for real. As we're heading into the reactor boost turnover. Hugo currently falling down from race after battling for P3. It's Dark who managed to retake that third place, albeit some 9/10 of a second down on Mutta, currently sitting in P2, half a second down on Binks, who yeah, Mutta's managing to close the gap ever so slightly to the Frenchman. It will be interesting to see whether or not we might have a battle on our hands for the lead towards the final lap of the race, as we're heading into the identity right here. Mutta with a supremely low transfer, supremely low line through the transfer, and actually much better line potentially to Binks through this particular transfer. He goes to within 3/10. Mutta's speed is real. It might not be full speed. It might not be something. It might be something else, but he has still got the speed he needs to potentially be a contender at the top flight. And Binks with a pretty savage rub of the floor at the exit of that corner will allow Mutta through to the lead into lap number 5. Mutta taking the fastest lap of the race for good measure with 1:14.677, currently the lap record. Dark in third, Cap in P4, Hugo, Link, Dofalt and Grenady into the top 8 at the very moment. Razi in P9 currently trying to fight against Grenady to try and make him lose his points. Razi's got nothing to lose at this point, with Super Kaluf having everything to lose. He's on 35 and could potentially lose all those 35 points. He's currently half a second away from the battle for top 8 between Grenady and Razi, with Dofal just up the road. So if there's a mistake from the top flight, there might be something on the cards. Meanwhile, Binks and Cap having a battle of their own for second place, with Hugo joining in the fun. So yeah, a three-way battle for second position, with Mutta trying to check out in front. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of Hugo at the very moment as we head into the final lap of the race. The Australian looking supremely strong out here and looking set to potentially retain his Grand League lead after the step concludes. I might be talking out of my ass right now. We're on to the final lap of the race. Here, everything is going to be important. The mistakes are not welcome here. Cap 1.2 seconds down in second place. Binks and Hugo in third and fourth. Dark, Dofal, Grenady, and Link up into P8, half a second down. Then we find Super Kaluf in P9, as we are currently seeing that the 2006 World Champions having a bit of a struggle to catch back up to the top 8 bandwagon, and there could be some really huge damage. Dofal on 35 points, 47 for Link and 28 for Grenady. That could be really some huge damage unless a mistake from one of the other players happens. It might be game over for Super Kaluf, and those 35 points will be completely gone down the toilet. 1.4 seconds, 1.3 seconds between Mutta and Hugo in first and second, and the battle for second still rages on between Cap, Binks, and Hugo. So yeah, Cap and Binks having a huge tussle for second place as Mutta takes to the identity for the final time. First transfer onto the second transfer we go. After that, if he manages to get it, he will be able to cross the start finish line. It is done. Mutta will take the map win and take the fastest lap points, at least for now. We'll have to see how this goes. Mutta wins the race in front of Cap, in front of Binks actually in second, Cap third, Hugo fourth, Dark fifth, Grenady sixth, Dofal seventh, and Link in P8. Carl loses 35 points, finishing P9. Talik 10th, Razi 11th, Wozil 12th, Panda 13th, Mika finishing in P14, Mimo Jr. P15, and a little bit behind as we head into the identities, P16 for Skandir. And with that, if my calculations are correct, it will be a step win for Mutta. Let's actually see how Skandir goes into this final lap, but it seems as though the 22 points will yield him 65. That will actually take him to the step win. And Skandir, come on. There you go. Grenady and Dofalt not losing points, you're absolutely right. Link also having a really juicy step ahead of him, so he might not get the step win overall, but he still has to be content with that. 65 points from Mutta nets him this step win ahead of Link. 53 points. Completing the podium is Hugo with 48 points. Good step from the MTP Sport driver. Grenady into P6 with 36 points, and so Mutta takes a full 10,000 points, the third straight step win for Mutta in this Open Grand League season. Link in P2 gets 98.65, then Hugo 97.35 in third place, 9600 for Cap in P4, 94.65 for Dofalt in P5, Grenady in P6 with 93.35, Binks in P7 with 9200, and 90.65 for Dark in P8. Carl, Talik, Razi, Wazil, Panda, Mika, Mimo Jr., and Skandir complete your top 16. Here we go. Reveal in 3, 2, 1. So, with 3 straight step wins, Mutta is your current Grand League leader with 39,200 points. Chalek in second place with 3,700 37,870 points. Link completes the podium with 37,730 points. Cap in P4 with 37,465 points. Super Caliph down in P5 with 37,200 points. Hugo in P6 with 36,735 points. Default in P7 with 36,400 points. And Dark completing the top 8 with 36,265 points.